You ever been sitting down in a chair, perhaps, laying back on the sofa, thinking about your life? Perhaps you remember the first time you got a 4.0 GPA or winning a trophy of some sorts. Man, those are the days. Those memories bring back feelings of joy and accomplishment. Then maybe you begin to think about the things you haven't done or yet accomplished, such as getting in shape, getting a college degree, or even learning how to recite the alphabet backwards. Well, let me tell you how you can begin to accomplish your unmet goals, no matter what age you are. Today we're going to be talking about mindset. I began to take an interest for myself on the topic of mindset while I studied the matter in a college course. Since then, I've looked for how mindset applies in domestic life, workplace, and various other settings. We will begin looking into two types of mindset. Maybe you've heard of them before. These mindsets are a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. I will begin addressing both of these in further detail in my speech. However, I wish to show you the positive outcomes of having a growth mindset and help you avoid the limits you will face in a fixed mindset. As you continue listening, you're going to learn to develop a growth mindset and avoid the pitfalls of the fixed mindset. This will allow you to be able to achieve hopes and dreams that you thought have passed by you due to your old age. As you develop a growth mindset, you'll once again be able to feel those feelings of joy and accomplishment way more frequently in your life. So, talking about mindset, fixed and growth. We'll begin by understanding each type of mindset. Then we'll look at the devastating limits the fixed mindset can place in your life, followed by the power of the growth mindset. To wrap things up, I'm going to explain to you the great need of a growth mindset, especially in today's world. Well, let's begin with a solid foundation by understanding what mindset is. Mindset is your perspective of the world, your job, the car you drive, the clothes you wear, and most importantly, who you are. According to Stanford University psychologist Carol Dweck, mindset is a simple idea that has a profound effect on a person's life. Mindset, Dweck says, is the view that you adopt for yourself that determines the way you live your life, see the world, and make decisions. In simpler terms, mindset is perspective. So with this knowledge, let's get a definition of the fixed mindset. Fixed mindset essentially means that you believe your attributes and abilities are inherently fixed and unchanging. I would like to highlight one word from this definition, which is unchanging. Can you imagine? You're at your 10-year high school reunion. Since high school graduation, you've been busy exploring the world, discovering who you are. During that time, you got married and completed your master's degree. So you go to the reunion to show everyone how much you have changed. And the first person you bump into says, "Whoa, man, it's great to see you. You haven't changed a bit." How disappointing would that be to hear that you haven't changed? Well, for people with a fixed mindset, this is their life. Who would want to live like that? Let's get a definition of the growth mindset now. A growth mindset is when you tend to see your levels of intelligence, skill, talent, and success as starting as a basic level, but with capacity to grow. The most important phrase in this definition is the capacity to grow. This is something that is so much better than, "Wow, you haven't changed a bit." Wouldn't you rather hear people talk about you in terms of potential and growth? We're not going to dive in deeper into each type of mindset, so I can show you why we should all develop a growth mindset and avoid the fixed mindset. To do this, let's begin looking at the fixed mindset. Maybe you've heard the following phrases before. I'm just not that kind of person. Or, I'm not good at that. Or, no way, I can't do that. These type of phrases signal a fixed mindset. That you are simply not the type of person to be outgoing. Or you're not good at reading. Or you can't do math. This mindset puts a limit on your abilities. Maria Popova helpfully phrases it this way. A fixed mindset assumes that our character, intelligence, and creative ability are static givens which we can't change in any meaningful way, and success is the affirmation of that inherent intelligence, an assessment of how those givens measure up against an equally fixed standard. Striving for success and avoiding failure at all costs become a way of maintaining the sense of being smart or skilled. Popova points out that those with a fixed mindset avoid failures. You may find excuses to not do the tasks that you have deemed you're not good at. You won't even attempt the task because if you fail, you lose the sense of being smart or skilled at that task. This mindset is dangerous because if left unchecked, it can turn into the failure mindset, in which you believe you simply can't overcome challenges. That doesn't sound like an appealing way to live, especially in a world full of different daily challenges, from waking up in the mornings because you tell yourself, I'm not a morning person, to completing homework or work assignments. I can't imagine living with only this perspective of a fixed mindset. If it were me, I'd be in constant fear at my workplace, knowing that I only have so much to offer the company because I am limited. I would be anxious every day because who knows when an employer could find someone who performs better than me. With the fixed mindset, I would have no choice but to quit because I see my abilities with limits. This is not the way to live your life. Now, if you're feeling down on yourself or you're fearing that you have a fixed mindset and are doomed, please realize that all people in their life have had a fixed mindset at some point in time. Don't let this be your excuse for staying in a fixed mindset. To give you some hope, let's talk about the growth mindset. Check out this research. Recent advances in neuroscience have shown us that the brain is far more malleable than we ever knew. Research on brain plasticity has shown how connectivity between neurons can change with experience. With patients, neural networks grow new connections, strengthen existing ones, and build insulation that speeds transmissions of impulses. These neuroscientific discoveries have shown us that we can increase our neural growth by actions we take, such as using good strategies, asking questions, practicing, and following good nutrition and sleep habits. If that didn't make sense to you, let me help you understand. Scientists have found that our brain can grow with strategy. Do you remember the phrases I used to describe those with a fixed mindset? I'm not good at, or I'm not this type of person. Did you know if you add one small word at the end of each of these phrases, you can begin to have a growth mindset? That word is yet. By adding this small word to your vocabulary, you tell yourself you're working on becoming better. Hence, you are growing. Here's a story that illustrates the power of a growth mindset. Leah Culver started running 1 year ago. This is how she describes the process. I started running 1 year ago. I didn't entirely start from scratch. In the past, I jogged every once in a while, maybe once a month. My first run was just 2 miles at 12 minutes per mile. That's pretty slow. However, for a non-athlete, I felt fairly good about it. I jogged a couple more times that week. After a couple weeks of regular jogging, I set a goal for myself. I knew I would never be fast enough to impress anybody, so it didn't make sense to make speed my goal. I could have picked a race to train for, a 5K or a half miler, but I knew those ended. Everyone seems to quit running right after their big race. I wanted to do something different. I wanted not to quit. My goal involved not going too long between runs. If I skipped more than a couple days, wouldn't that be quitting? So I started running 4 and 5 days a week. The longest I went between runs was 3 days when I was on vacation. My goal made all the difference. I was still slow, but I could at least feel good that I was running a lot. I had good days where I would run fast and feel great, but I also had lots of bad days where I was tired and just didn't feel like running. In retrospect, those days were almost better than the good days because they reinforced my goal. I didn't quit. I ran my first 5K on Halloween, nearly 5 months after I had taken up running as a hobby. I wore a costume, fairy wings, and tried to keep up with a random guy with an owl on his head. I finished in 28 minutes and was super happy. I learned that racing wasn't always about being the fastest, but doing my personal best. I signed up to run a full marathon in December, hired a running coach, and set a regular running schedule. I started to think of myself as a runner. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be working out almost every day and running 100 miles a month, I would have never believed you. Running really snuck up on me. I had a modest aspiration and didn't really care if I was great at running. I just wanted to stick to my one goal. Don't quit. If this story didn't motivate you to do better and try harder and surpass the limits you've set for yourself, please listen to what I have to say to you right now. You can change. You can grow. You have no limits other than the limits you place on yourself. Our brains are plastic, meaning we can increase our knowledge and abilities. In an ever-changing world, there is an ever-increasing need for the growth mindset. Start simple. Start by saying, oh, I'm not this kind of person yet, or I can't do math yet. This opens up our mind to the growth mindset. To conclude, let us take one last look at the definitions of a growth and fixed mindset. Fixed mindset essentially means that you believe your attributes and abilities are inherently fixed and unchanging. A growth mindset is when you tend to see your levels of intelligence, skill, talent, and success as starting at a basic level, but with capacity to grow. Remember and take note of these definitions. They will prove helpful to you on a daily basis. You will now be cursed as a result of attending today to see mindset everywhere you look. This curse is also a blessing. You now have a better understanding of mindset and how to recognize it. The growth mindset will help you accomplish your unmet goals, dreams, and aspirations, while a fixed mindset will keep you where you are at now. Thank you.